Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm Gav, and we're going to be getting straight into today about the fact that Chris Mueller has departed Hibs. This was first broken by Paul Tenorio of The Athletic, and after 15 games, one goal, only 5 starts, Chris Mueller is heading back to the MLS. I think there was a lot of excitement when the announcement was first made back in July 2021 that he'd been signed on a pre-contract, and then it was announced that he would be joining us in the January. I think the middle of December, he kind of rocked up to the training centre, photos with Jack Ross, shaking hands. Jack Ross gone, I don't know what, a week later or something. And then, but like say, when Maloney came in, I think there was a lot of excitement. We probably spoke about it on the podcast about, like, maybe Nisbet up top, Mueller on one side, Boyle on the other. That's a really exciting front three for Maloney to kind of get the best out of this 3-4-3 system. And Nisbet got injured, Boyle was sold. There was maybe the feeling between some Hibs fans and potentially even the board as well that the reason there wasn't a Boyle replacement is because we had Mueller. Yes, it would have been ideal to play the two of them, but Mueller's going to fill that void, and he hasn't. Well, we don't know why that is. Whether it is ability, and whether it is just settling into the Scottish game. But the fact that he was our highest earning player on a 3.5 year contract, seen as a player that we could sign and sell on for a big fee, is now gone for nothing. Is a strange one. I think there's a lot of fans saying, look, if he was our highest earner, we're better cutting our losses. That hasn't worked, but it just seems another one bit of impatience from the board. Like 19 games for Maloney, 15 games for Mueller. Like, I think you need to be given time to settle in and figure things out. I was really excited to see Mueller after a pre-season, but I guess the decision's been made that Mueller's moving on, and whether this is a request from him or whether it's a decision from the board is yet to come out. But it's a strange one. I think we were all really excited by Mueller, and yeah, he's set to go back to Chicago. He's set to go back to MLS and play for Chicago Fire, and could even be playing for them this weekend, which is crazy. But like I say, we will have a podcast later in the week. We will dive into this a bit further and look ahead to the Aberdeen game, so keep an eye out for that. And like I say, let us know your thoughts, whether it be in the YouTube comments section or on social media, your thoughts on Mueller departing after 15 games. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, obviously that one goal against Arbroath, and I think he briefly got assisted with the goal against Hearts, but then that got changed to Jay Wright. So a disappointing spell, to say the least. On the managerial front, one name that won't be the next Hibs manager is Roy Keane. A lot of excitement when Roy Keane was announced as potential Hibs manager. However, the Times are now reporting that due to the transfer committee that Hibernian seem to have, the transfer policy that they have in place, that Roy Keane is not interested in interviewing for the Hibs job. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one to convince any manager that, no disrespect to him, but Ian Gordon, who doesn't have any experience in football, overseeing recruitment as part of this recruitment committee, a manager's going to want a say in who they sign. So I think a lot of coaches are going to be put off with it, and it's going to make Hibs' job harder to get a new manager in place. And it's a bit disappointing to see a big name like Roy Keane. I was a bit on the fence with Roy Keane. It was kind of one that was like, yes, it'd be entertainment, it'd be excitement, but is he the right man? He's been out of management for a while, but the thing I'm taking from this is it's going to be harder to attract a manager or the right manager because they're going to be put off by this transfer committee. But yeah, not Roy Keane. Let us know your thoughts to that below. Two names that are starting to appear more like in the bookies and stuff. Michael Appleton, who obviously we spoke to before, I think was actually offered the job. Reports or rumours that he was offered the job before Paul Heckingbottom got it. And Tony Mowbray, who has very much hinted that he's leaving Blackburn. However, with Tony Mowbray, it does seem like he was kind of saying that he was taking a step away from football. He said how his son's a teenager and how he wants to spend the Sundays watching his kid play football. So I find it highly unlikely that he'd then leave Blackburn and then come to Hibs when he's going to be further away from his kid. But you never know. There might be something in that one. But it seems unlikely to be Tony Mowbray. And with Tony Mowbray leaving Blackburn, Michael Appleton, is, as well as being favourite for the Hibs job, is also favourite for the Blackburn job. So the managerial situation a bit unclear. In terms of making a decision for a new manager, it does seem like Ian Gordon and Ben Kenzel are going to have the support of chairman and owner Ron Gordon, who is flying in Edinburgh this week, set to be at the Aberdeen game on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see what the turnout is with like the season kind of over. But don't know how many Hibs fans will be there, but Ron Gordon will apparently be there. So yes, Ron Gordon will be at Easter Road and is set to kind of be there for the remaining games of the season, according to reports. So I think it's kind of good to see the owner come in when we are looking for a new manager, and hopefully this can help the decision get moved along. And finally, just to say, we will be back with a later podcast this week. Apologies, there was no podcast early in the week. Hopefully this kind of helps fill the void with the breaking news about Mueller and an update on the managerial situation. Hopefully there'll be more names when we go to record the podcast. We will also be looking ahead to the Aberdeen game. We'll briefly touch on the Livingston game. Like I say, because it was early in the week, it won't be an in-depth analysis. But like I say, so it'll be Mueller, the managerial situation, a bit on Livingston, and of course looking ahead to Aberdeen. That'll be a shorter podcast out later this week, so make sure, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to your podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Like I say, let me know if you enjoyed this sort of news format. It's something obviously we could have done, myself and Stuart, when Maloney departed. Something we'll do if there is sort of news when it comes. So like I say, any feedback we appreciate as well. Anyway, thank you very much. Thanks again, and we'll speak to you later in the week.